It's the Man Them Show. It's your boy Vegas.
It's your boy Gutsy.
And we have another guest, Lieberman.
East Side.
Lieberman alumni. Now, only been there for 2 years, 1.5. I don't know, but like, we're in the same grade. Went to the same class. You know, I want to shout out.
What class did you guys have together?
Aeon and Greg and Rochelle.
What class did you guys have together?
We had a lot of class, like religion. I swear we had English. Miss Chen. Miss Chen, right? Well, there was a lot of it. But now you're doing huge things. You are a children's edutainment. What do you call your? What is it that you call
Children's edutainer. So I facilitate workshops. I do things like birthday parties. That's not my favorite to do though, because it's, kids are a little more hyper when they're at a party.
Yes, they are.
But I also do programs at libraries, community centers, things like that, and it's just centered around uplifting our youth. My content is actually created for Black children, but I've noticed that any child enjoys it, and that's what's been really special to me, because now I've noticed that I'm giving other children a chance to see Black people in a positive light, because as you know, at home, charity begins at home, and a lot of times other races, whether they're conscious of it or not, they kind of teach their kids that Black people are not good people. So that's my biggest dream right now is to make sure that everyone feels safe around us too. We're not all bad. And there's bad in every race, and people should be treated equally. So that's what my main thing is.
Yeah. Well, look at that. She just introed herself. It's Miss Love. Miss
Love
in the building.
Big up yourself.
Great friend of mine. She's actually, I think you know my brother on my dad's side. Friggin' Leroy.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that was your brother, though.
I know. When we came to the funeral, and it was like, they're like, you're here? Yeah, that's my brother.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that. Oh, my gosh. See, we were just talking about old people brain.
I know. Yeah. So, yeah, when I realized what happened at that point, we'll get into a little bit of that later. Yeah. But
Hold on,
how
really quick.
Have you been?
Yeah.
Your mental health check. How have you been? What's on your mind? How you feeling?
You know what? Right now, I feel so blessed. I've been through a lot early in life, and sometimes you don't realize that the things that you go through are challenges, because in your world, that's normal, right? Yeah. So taking it right back, my mom passed away when I was just 3.5, barely 4.
Damn.
And
earlier.
Condolences.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But my dad and his sisters, and we had a village. My dad also remarried. My stepmom and her family, they came in and they poured in so much love on me. So I thought life was just how it was.
Really quick, because I'm a story, I want to delve into that. What age were you when your dad remarried?
I was 8. I was 8 when he remarried. So between 3.5, 4 to 8, it was really just him, myself, one of my brothers, and my dad's sister, one of his sisters.
So because of that, was it easier or harder, do you feel, him bringing in a new woman into the family? Were you receptive of it at first? Do you even remember? You're 8 years old. You probably
you know what, that's the question everyone always asks is, do you remember your mom, and do you remember that far back? And the answer is absolutely. I do remember. And for me, I was so receptive to my stepmom, because at that stage I just wanted to be like everyone else. Everyone else had their mom and their dad. Even if they weren't living in the same home, you still saw that representation of, there's little Jake's mom and little Kiara's dad. Everyone had that, so I wanted that too. So when he remarried, I was ecstatic. And then they also had another child, and when he was born, he was like my little doll. I took him everywhere, so I was happy for that. So for me, that transition was very positive. And yeah, it's something that I wouldn't change for the world, because now I'm realizing that those experiences have shaped my purpose. Now I see the world through a different lens, because, for a short time I had both of my parents, which, like I just mentioned briefly, I remember what that dynamic was when my mom was still here. And then for a while, my dad was on this single parent tip, which, again, you don't see very often, especially from a male taking care of a little girl. So that was also very interesting. He raised me to be very tough, even though I'm more soft presenting, but I'm realizing that I'm a lot more resilient than you would think.
Mm-hmm. That's dope.
How is like now that there's a new family structure with stepmom, your pops, your siblings, like growing up and your elementary school days, going into your high school days, like how was like the experience? Like, was it like hard? Was it easy to deal with? Like, you did say that you look at life in a different lens, but how so? Like, compared to like your friends and stuff like that.
Well, I think that my muscle of empathy, it was it accelerated because there was like always this nagging thing in the back of my mind that you just never know what people are going through behind closed doors just from that experience of losing my mom. So I knew how much that hurt, and I didn't want for other people to feel that type of pain. So I'm pretty sure that that's one of the things that really changed the way how I view the world. I always thought about, if someone was being mean to someone else, I always thought, I wonder why they're doing that. It wasn't like, oh, that kid's bad. And, it was always, I wonder what the reason is behind that. And that was always in me from a very early age. Mm-hmm. I was very good at not holding grudges because in the early years, I was bullied a lot because my mom passed away. Kids could be very, very cruel. Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Kids would say things like, oh, she only has a dad. That's devil ting. And it's like, what? How is that a devil ting? But again, charity begins at home. These are obviously things that they heard in their household, whether it was directly about me or other
Somebody
situations.
else. And then it came back.
Exactly. Came back full circle. And so with that being said, I would say that those years of elementary school were, for me, very formative in terms of developing that muscle of empathy. And like I said, that's just how I've always been. That's something in me that has never changed.
How did you deal with those traumas of just dealing with bullying?
Because that is traumatic, like, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, my dad, like I briefly mentioned, was he was just very tough. So I would tell him these things and he would say, you're still standing up though.
He gave you the balls up.
Yeah, he would say, you're still standing up. So who cares if these kids are saying these things? Mm-hmm. And in the moment it felt, oh my gosh, like, why wouldn't he hug me? But, or if I would be crying about stuff, he would say, all right, you have 5 seconds, finish off the crying, because guess what? What they said, it's already happened. And like I said, you're still standing here. You're not dead. So words are just words. You have to rise above that. So he always took that type of tough approach with me. And I mean, it worked. It protected me.
Sometimes it's triggering. I wouldn't say it's triggering. It's just it's hearing that, because you always hear a lot of times when they tell the father not to be like that with the girls, especially when they have small girls going through stuff. So that's good that it actually helped you.
Yes.
Because you usually see it, and then the girls usually rebel against it, kind of thing. So I'm glad that you didn't rebel. You guys went to school together.
Yeah, man.
Obviously, he focused on music. He wanted to be a music guy. What was your focus in school?
Well, I did music too.
Oh, did you? I didn't know.
Music is my first love.
Oh, okay.
I started playing the piano at 5 years old.
Jeez.
It would have been before my mom passed away. They bought me a baby grand piano.
Wow.
But I officially took lessons at 5 years old because they weren't taking kids younger than that. So prior to taking lessons, I used to just pound up those keys, make up my own songs. And I also come from a pretty large family. So the cousins, you already know what it is.
Yeah.
We were making up dance routines, singing, doing all sorts of making up plays. But music is my first love. My mom actually was a very good singer. She used to sing to me. And that's something that I pretty much inherited from her because I have a decent singing voice. The formal training in singing didn't start for me until I was much older. I think probably it would have been grade 6. And I took the formal voice training all through high school and actually in my first year of college. And I went to college. I did broadcast journalism, focused on radio broadcasting. And then I came here to this school at University of Toronto Scarborough campus. And I did a double major in English literature and women and gender studies. So
Congratulations.
Yes.
That's dope.
Thank you.
I like to be around smart people.
Yes.
I do.
I like when I'm not the smartest in the room. I love that.
So you went to Humber for your
Yeah, I went to Humber.
Shout out to Halls. He went to Humber
Yeah.
too.
Ah.
He went to Humber.
Dane, he was in my class.
Who?
Are you saying Dane Hall?
No.
No.
His nickname is Halls. Is Nathan Adam.
Okay, I thought
He's
you meant
younger.
Dane
He's
Hall.
a little bit younger. So
Okay,
he probably
okay,
went in
because
a
he's
different year.
actually also a rapper.
Who?
The person I'm thinking of, his name's Dane Hall. I don't remember what his
Rap
rapper
name
name is,
Oh.
but it's pretty sick with it.
What was your artist name?
Oh my gosh, I went through so many. I was actually part of a band, and we
A
were
group?
called. What were we called again?
Like a rock band or
It
like
was-
a female
no,
band?
It was like Aeon was in the band.
Oh, for
Andrew
sure.
was in the band. Bremeline.
Mhm.
Oh, we were called Addictive. That's what it was.
Mm. And I
And-
addictive.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember any of those other names. I think I used to. We did a Humber Idol competition, and I remember I came in second, and for that I just went with Renee.
Mm.
So yeah.
This is a better name, anyways. And it sucks for Aeon because Aeon was talented.
Yeah.
That guy.
He still is. He has such a beautiful voice.
But I mean,
What, he shot somebody?
no. He got slighted in a sense. That's his story, though. I'll see if I can bring him up here to talk about him and Drake.
Yeah, that would be nice. actually. Gosh.
Anyways, it's about Miss Love, though.
Yes, Miss Love in the house.
I want to get back to rest in peace, your pops. Say he definitely instilled some really, really great values in you.
Yes.
Going back to that, what was the greatest thing that he taught you?
Community. From the time I could walk, we were always involved in some kind of volunteer activities. And my dad he had a huge love for the youth because his thought was the youth, we're nothing without the youth, right? The world keeps going because of young people. And so he had just a love for making sure that the youth in the community were happy, healthy, and just together. And what I noticed was, again, that just seemed normal. But when you filter off into other communities, you realize, oh, that sense of togetherness is actually not there. Because I grew up in Alton Towers, and all the kids on our street, we all played together. Some of them are 15 years older than me, but we still played together. And it was that sense of community, love, and encouragement. So yeah, that's the biggest lesson that my dad instilled in me is community and building together. You can't do anything by yourself.
That's facts. What was that call like?
I was there.
You were there.
Yeah.
Was it like a hospital thing?
Yeah. So my dad had a very short battle with pancreatic cancer. And the morning, so we lived separately. And so he would call me every morning to tell me, hey, girl, you didn't see the news this morning? And I'd be like, sir, it's 6:30. I'm just waking up.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see the news yet. And then he would rattle off all of the things that were happening in the world. And one morning, he didn't call me. So I was like, okay, I work from home. So on my first break, I called him and I said, hey, what's up? He's like, I good, I day. I'm like, you don't sound good. Where are you? He's like, I'm at the hospital. I said, okay, so why didn't you call and tell somebody something? He said, nah, it's not something that I want you to worry about. I'll be fine. So I said, are you sure? I said, yeah, I'm fine. So me being who I am with the whole empathy thing, I called my supervisor. I said, hey, my dad just told me he's at the hospital. She said, say no more. Just log off and go. So I went to the hospital. And my dad was there just sitting with his glasses on and reading a newspaper. I'm like, okay, you look fine, but what brought you here? He said my stomach was hurting and it was really a very bad burning sensation. And so I got scared and I just came in. So I said, okay. So I sat with him. And to just condense the story, that was in the beginning of May. It took the hospital probably almost 4 weeks to diagnose him.
Jeez.
And this is the other thing too. One of the lessons that I learned walking this journey with my dad is people don't run and jump until they think you're a somebody. So all these people started coming and visiting my dad. And one of the nurses came to me and she's like, "Is he famous?" And I was like, "No, he just black." It's not famous. But she's like, "Oh." And then my dad had a lot of friends like in the political arena, and a couple very familiar faces came to visit him. And after that happened, I noticed that they started taking
Dealing
care
with
of
him
him
properly.
better.
That's
And
up,
I know
bro.
it was very messed up. But my
Sorry for
dad,
cursing,
my
sorry.
dad was very humble, so I know he noticed it, but he just never said anything. So with that being said, fast forward, they finally diagnosed him, and this was another lesson I learned, that it really is about mind over matter. Because the moment they gave him that diagnosis, it's like he just went downhill.
He kind of gave up.
Yeah, if they didn't tell him he had cancer, I'm pretty sure he would have lasted much longer. So yeah, that's why now I'm very, very, very intentional about who I keep around me so that my mood is good. I'm very intentional about what I put in my body. I'm very intentional about sleep, because that all boosts your mood. And yeah, mind over matter, but it's more of a challenge to have mind over matter if you're feeling like you need to be on your A game. So yeah, he had pancreatic cancer. He spent some time at Centenary Hospital, and the other half of it was at Sunnybrook, where again, the care at
Over there.
Centenary in comparison to Sunnybrook, night and day. And again, it's demographics. So these are all the things that, while I'm dealing with this anticipated grief of watching my dad pass away, I'm also dealing with what the actual, like, how is it that a hospital that caters to people who live mainly in, like, deserving communities is not running and jumping to take care of people, right? But then you go to Sunnybrook and everybody's running and jumping and they're doing the most. And actually there was an incident where my dad decided, he's going to go visit his friend in Oakville. I thought to myself, bruh, you're not well. Why are you taking that long drive from Pickering to Oakville? He's like, I'll be good. Lo and behold, he ended up having to go in the hospital in Oakville. And again, the difference in how he was tended to in Oakville was completely different than Centenary. Because again, that's like in a community where there's more deserving people that need help, or of equity seeking groups. And so that for me was very disheartening to see, because again, the community that was living in the Oakville area was more like well-to-do and whatnot. So yeah, we say we live in an equal world. We say Canada is so great at healthcare and whatnot, and although we're better than some places, we still have a long way to go, and we need to do better at taking care of everyone the same.
Centenary is not the one at Finch and Birchmount.
No, that one's at Nielsen and
Ellesmere, right up the street.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. I know
Centenary.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I know. The one at Finch and Birchmount. Oh my God, that one's just as bad. They closed that one down though, please.
Grace.
That's
That
still up.
was
That's still up?
Yeah.
They need to close
My
that
daughter
bitch
was
down.
born there.
They need to close it down.
You don't like that place?
Fam, I went there it's a conversation for another day. It's definitely a conversation for another day. But yeah, the hospitals are no good. You seem like you've dealt with a lot of trauma though. How do you deal with that? Like, who do you speak to? How do you, you don't seem like a person that goes to the substance. So how do you deal with your trauma?
The substance would take me right out. A glass of wine does me in, so I don't even try to touch anything else. Late in life, I learned about therapy and life coaches. And so the first time that I actually talked to someone outside of my network, because that's the other thing, I have good friends. So I'm realizing as well that kept me, like, God really sends you what you need when you need it. And I've always had friends who served as just amazing pillars, great listeners, people who give great advice. So
support system.
yeah, like I've just always been very blessed with that. But it wasn't until actually a few months before my dad got ill, so that was in late 2017, I started seeing a life coach. And I thought to myself, wow, this is actually so good, and this should be a service that everybody has access to, right? And one of the things that she said to me, like, after, because she like the onboarding process, she asks about your childhood and all that kind of thing, just to kind of figure out what areas we would need to focus on. And she's the first person that said to me, hey, like, you've been through a lot. And I thought, really? She's like, yes, there are people who are your age who haven't lost anybody in their life.
That's facts.
Right? Mm-hmm. And she's like, I don't know. She's like, for you, it's normal, but I don't think you understand, like, the depth of what that does to someone's soul, especially losing your mother. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the first person that every child runs to. Mm-hmm. So kind of coming to terms with that, I was like, wow. And then she said to me, a lot of the things that you've been doing throughout your life have helped you, such as dance. Because she's like, you know, moving your body and stuff like that, it moves trauma. Mm-hmm. It doesn't just keep it trapped. Exactly. And the singing and stuff like that, she's like, those are the things that saved you. Because if you weren't doing those things, I don't know if you'd be standing here as healthy as you are right now. So that was something that was mind-blowing to me. And she also mentioned, she said, you know, you feel like you're falling apart right now, but you're actually not. You're doing pretty well. So yes, life coach, that's something that I sought out in late 2017. And then after my dad passed away, I finally got some like formal counseling, which was amazing as well. People try to make it seem like, oh, mental health is, you know, some scary, you know, road to yeah, but it's not. We all have mental health issues.
Facts.
Right? This is not something that should be a secret. Everybody goes through some kind of grief. Even if you haven't lost a person, you may have lost a friendship.
Yeah.
Or you broke up with your man, or you broke up with your girl. Like, those things are hard. And people try to make it seem like, yeah, it just happens. Yes, it just happens. But people should have the space to grieve these things openly and to heal from it. So, yeah.
So how do you tell somebody?
Hold on really quick. Sorry. Okay. Hold that question.
Okay.
Pin it.
I love
because
your you guys are so funny.
Because also you had siblings too that had to deal with that grief too. How, like, did they also go through the therapies and stuff like that? And two, a second part question to that, how's the relationship with your dad's wife too now? Like,
so there's a lot of moving parts here.
Yeah.
So,
This guy is moving parts.
So with the siblings piece, I actually was the only child that both my mom and dad had together. Mm-hmm. My mom had a son before her and my dad got married. Okay. And my dad had 3 sons before him and my mom got married.
Okay.
And the relationship with them is like with my mom's son, we're pretty cool. We just don't talk a lot because my brother is very, like, he's just a quiet person. Mm-hmm. So, like, you know, the Merry Christmas, or we might hang out together for a bit. And then my older brothers from my dad's previous relationship, we don't really speak at all since his passing, but it's not something that I'm upset about. I'm well with it. So there's that. And my younger brother, we don't talk a lot, but he seems to be doing very well. So saying all this to say, I don't know what their journey was like with the passing of my dad, and my dad actually raised my mom's son for most of his life, actually. I don't really know what their journey was like because of the fact that after he passed away, everyone just kind of went into their own shell. Yeah, and that was very interesting to see at first, because at first that was part of my grief, because it's like I lost my dad and then I lost
your brother,
the rest of my
siblings,
family.
Yeah.
Right, but now I'm at a stage where I'm just like, this is how it's supposed to be, and if we're ever supposed to come back together, we will. Mm-hmm. And as for my one brother that's still around, shout outs to him. He's never changed. That's just how he's always been.
Because they always say, like, men kind of deal with grief worse than women.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Women know how to, like, kind of move on from it and keep shit going because, like, women are stronger. They have to. But it's like men deal with grief and it's just like they just hold on to that shit. They don't let it out. They don't speak about it. So I was just wondering that.
They just handle it different. Like when my mom passed, I didn't want to be here in Toronto anymore. I actually drove to Edmonton, Vancouver, wanted to continue my life there. But I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I was pissed because my mom missed my mom, right? And then before that, she lost her partner in a matter of 6 months. So it's just like, and that guy raised me. So it's just like, my mind was all fucked up.
But you
like,
still
doing
haven't
that.
spoke about it.
I spoke to a psychiatrist a little bit before the COVID, but when COVID hit, everything shut down.
But
I had to get back to business.
Yes, but
You know
that's
what I mean?
but that's the problem right there though, because it's still you're holding on to trauma.
I am holding on to trauma. But listening
we
to
all
Renee,
we all go through it, because I can
Yeah.
see it in both of you. Like I tell you about it, but just speaking to you, I see both, and it's like I want to commend you for being so strong, because I
Yeah,
see the strength,
thank
but I
you.
also see the trauma too. Like,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm wondering how you deal with it. But like I commend you, because like I don't even want to think those thoughts. Like like you know, like thank. I don't want to knock you guys, but like
No,
I
that's
still
not
have
a
my mom
knock.
and dad, and I'm like, I always think about that process. Like, I don't know how I would deal with that. Like, even though me and my mom are not, we don't have the greatest relationship, but we had a great relationship. Me and my dad are amazing, but it's like if any of them two go, I feel like I would just lose it. So it's like fuck.
Well, here's what to do. I always tell people, just love on them.
Facts.
Just love on them while they're here.
True.
Then that way, when they're gone, the grief is just a pure grief. It's not any fighting, and it's not, oh, I wish I did this or I regret that. You're just missing their presence. And that's
Yeah.
one thing that I was really, really content with when my dad passed away, because, yeah, that was my rock. But as I got older, we used to fight all the time, okay?
That's
Because
me and my mom. That's me and my dukes.
we were just, and I'm realizing now it's because we're the same person, right? He taught me to be a certain way, and I would call him out on stuff. I'd be like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And he'd say, I's the father, you's the child. And I'm like, no, but like we're having an adult conversation. But he would never, like that was just beyond him to have an adult conversation with me. And now I get it. It's because I'm a baby. I'm his baby.
You're his baby.
Right? So with that being said, in his last days, we had some very good conversations. And so I think that also helped me to be able to just, go through the grieving process. As traumatic as it was, I still think that I did pretty well because of that. So love on your mom, even though she might be miserable right now.
Yeah, you right.
Just ignore it and give her a 1-2 hug. Take her out on a date. Hang out with your dad.
I've done that. I do that with my mom.
Yeah.
That's one thing me and my mom will always go, because I'm a foodie. Like you can see, I'm a foodie. So like I'll always go out and look for food.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So that way you just don't have, unnecessary regrets.
Going back to the mental health aspect of our conversation, how do you tell somebody like, hey man, it's okay to have these thoughts, you need to speak to somebody about it? And if they're reserved, like, nah, I don't want to talk to nobody about my issue, like how do you kind of turn their thoughts to be like, it's going to be okay? Or you know what I'm saying, how do you talk to somebody
Well,
that
for
kind of have doubts about talking to other people? And
approaches that I've taken, because it's also a very cultural thing, right? A lot of the people in my circle are, if not first generation from the Caribbean, they're actually from the Caribbean, and they're just so against the idea of speaking to someone else.
Right.
And what I've come to realize is people just have to be ready. And so how I approach that is I tell people what therapy has done for me. And I show them that there's different ways. Like, you don't have to go to a psychiatrist that's going to prescribe you meds, right? You can just go to a counselor. Or you can, if you go to church, usually churches have, some kind of on-site counselor as well. Or even just talk to your pastor if you go to church, right? Or any spiritual organization. There's always someone that you can talk to. In my mind, just as long as you have a third party that's unbiased, that does wonders, because you can actually say things without feeling like you'll be judged.
yeah,
So that's really what the main caveat is with therapy, in my opinion. And also with therapists, they don't, I think people have this idea that they try to fix you. No, that's not what happens. They let you talk about everything that's on your mind, and then they give you solutions or avenues that you could take or things that you could try to release your own trauma. Right? So it's not about someone telling you what to do. It's about someone listening and giving you the tools to carry yourself through hard times. So, yeah, for me, it's just encouraging people to do things when they're ready. And of course, once they're ready, I'm always there to support.
that's what's dope.
Oh.
On to Miss Love.
Yeah, because I'm like, that was dark, man.
No,
I feel like I was gonna tear up, bro.
Here's
Like,
the thing, but you see,
but we
like,
need to
let's
have
pause.
these-
Yes,
we need to
and
have
that's
the
what I'm about
uncomfortable
to say.
conversations.
We don't have these uncomfortable conversations,
That's facts.
right? We don't have them enough, and we need to keep doing this
No, you're
because
right.
nobody talks about death openly. You know, it's some scary thing, but guess what? That's the only thing we're
that we
sure
know.
on in this life.
Facts.
We're not sure on anything else, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything. You don't have to pay rent. You don't have to pay your mortgage. Are there consequences? Absolutely. You'll end up on the street, but you don't have to do those things. The only thing you have to do is die. Really let that sink in.
Do you,
I don't
does
like
that fear you?
I don't like that. Scares
Because
the fuck
yeah,
out
yeah,
of me.
because I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm at a point where I know what's going to happen, right?
Yes.
I would like it to be peaceful, but my whole thing is what happens after. That's the one. Like, I'm not scared of dying per se. My whole thing is what happens after. Like,
Yeah.
does my body like not my body, my mind, my spirit, like. Am I in a spirit world? Like, that's my whole thing that scares the fuck out of me. Like, I be sleeping sometimes and I jump out of my sleep and I'll be like, I'm not going to bed because the fear of not waking up and not knowing what happens after, I think that's what bugs
me too.
And that's,
Me
I
too.
think that's a challenge that most human beings have. Because I was there before. Now, I'll tell you straight up, I'm not afraid to die. I'm not. I've seen it all. And there is a spiritual realm, but it depends on what you believe in. That's a whole different thing to go down. But I will say that in my experience, I've also had a younger cousin who, you know, he just randomly passed away while he was at work, right? I have a lot of guardian angels around me. And in some of my darkest moments, that's when I realized there really is a spiritual world and your spirit really lives on. I'll tell
Yes.
you something. There was a time where I just felt, and this was during COVID, I'm like, why is this happening? Why is the whole world shut down? At that point, I had just been kind of getting back on my 2 feet after losing my dad. And then I'm like, why is everything just being taken away? And I went into a crying spell and I'm just like, I need a sign. I kid you not even 5 minutes after I said that, my phone rang. I quickly wiped the tears. I picked up the phone. And it was somebody that worked with my dad. Wow. And they were like, hey, I couldn't find your phone number. I just found it. And your dad's business card fell from the cupboard. So and that's why I was like, I need to find this girl's number. He said he called someone else and they gave him my number and he just wanted to make sure that I was okay. In that moment, I'm like, okay,
That's
my
your sign.
dad's spirit helped. He orchestrated that to make me know that here's your sign. You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
So saying that to say, I don't fear death anymore because I know that there is an afterlife. I don't know what it looks like, but I know it's there because of these small
Yes.
things that happen.
I had a situation like that where I was dealing with I wouldn't say a flesh merchant, but just a very unpleasant female that I was dealing with. And I see my cousin that passed away gruesomely, but I seen him in my dream. He told me, he was just like, why are you still with that girl? It's like, you should be single. And like maybe like a week later, I found out some stories about her and I was like, yeah. I need to move on. So you're definitely right in
Yeah,
that sense.
dreams are important. That's your subconscious mind speaking to you, right? So these are things that we're not taught. We're also not taught to follow our gut feelings, right? We're taught to function in this world more logically. Now, that's not really how I move anymore. I'm very every morning I set aside an hour and a half of silent time. I meditate, I pray, and if I can't really get into a deep meditation, I just lay silently or I read something. And I've noticed that that's just set the pace for my days to be calmer. And now I can actually hear myself think, right? We're in this hustle and bustle world where everything's so loud and, you're taught, if you do this, then this happens. But if you really sit back and think about it, no, everything doesn't have to be the if this, then that. Why can't things just happen?
Yeah.
That's facts.
Damn. Okay, now you can get to your...
I was saying, let's get into
Miss Love?
Miss Love.
Mm-hmm.
Where did the concept come from to want to be a children's educator in the form that you're doing it in?
So my first job was with the City of Toronto, Parks and Rec. And when did I start that? In high school. I started that in grade 10. And ever since then, I always, even if it was just a weekend shift, I literally just gave up my employee number earlier this year. So I always was hands-on in the community. I did summer camps for like 12 years or something.
Jeez.
I taught dance with the city of Toronto for 18 years. Like I paid my dues with the city of Toronto, and obviously the programs were usually with children. And there was always just an ease. Like it didn't feel like work. I've always connected very well with children. And so with that being said, I feel like the concept of Miss Love, it wasn't by accident. It's something that I am designed to do. I've already been doing this, right? Just not under my own watch. And so after my dad's passing, the grief counselor in specific, she said to me, "What did you like doing?" And I'm like, "I like doing a lot of things." And she's like, "Okay, well, what are they? Just list them off." I'm like, "I like to sing, I like to dance, I love to read." She's like, "Okay, what did your mom like doing with you?" She used to sing to me. We always danced, and she always read to me. She's like, "I'm seeing a thread here." So she said, "You know what? Why don't you go to the library and get some children's books? Let's heal that inner little girl that missed her mom reading to her and singing to her." So I'm like, okay. Instead of going to the library, shout outs to Candy, she was like, "We're going to go to, what's that store called? It's in Brampton. It's a Black-owned bookstore. I can't remember what it's called right now." So we went out there and we actually bought some children's books, and they were Black children. I'm like, this is so cool because we didn't have that when we were growing up. And then I just decided to record myself reading the stories. So I did that. And then when I was watching the stories back, watching the recording back, I'm like, wow, this is actually very good, and it's very like healing. So
Knowledge Bookstore, by the way.
Yes, Knowledge. That's it. Shout outs to Knowledge Bookstore. So yeah, that's how Miss Love started. And then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make this fun and like buy some stuff and make a little set. And so from that, like the set is actually my living room.
For real?
Yeah, that's my living room.
The whole time?
Sofa. Yeah, that's my living room. All I do is I just put up the little backdrop.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's even more sentimental, because it's like that's my place. That's where I actually relax. That's where I actually learn.
Oh wow.
So yeah, the soulful sofa, that's my sofa. The clever cup, I actually drink tea in that cup. Like
It's not fake. It's not
real.
fake.
Yeah. So that's where the concept of Miss Love came from. And then when I posted the first YouTube video, a teacher messaged me and was like, "Hey, do you do workshops?" In my head, I'm like, no. But I said, yes.
That's sick.
And then I just created something, and
Yeah.
it was so easy. Like, it just comes like second nature to me because, again, like that piece of empathy, I just knew that everything that I'm going to be doing is going to be focused around kindness, because children are not taught kindness. I don't care what anybody says, and not from an organic way, at least. So that's how I kind of centered all of my stuff around. So basically my workshops always include a read aloud of a story. My one rule is all the stories have to be either written by a Black author or have some kind of Black representation on the pages of the book. And then I always link in some kind of Black history to the theme of the story. And then we do a physical movement activity because I'm very big on health. I think that that's another thing that we ignore. We have to take care of ourselves. You can't be eating roti and doubles every single day. Like, you can't do it.
Really?
So, no.
Not even jerk chicken every day?
No.
Crumble every day?
No, man.
These things, you can have them. Okay, I'm a foodie. I know I don't look like it, but I eat a lot, and I'm always in the kitchen. That's why I love working from home, because when lunchtime hits, I'm like with the skillet making actual food. But with that being said, I always try to tie in some kind of movement piece, because nowadays kids are always just on their devices.
I know.
Kids don't even play outside anymore.
I know.
So yeah, and then at the end of that, we talk about everything that we did prior to that, and I always do singing as well. So yeah, that's where the concept of Miss Love came from. It was very organic. This wasn't something that I sat down and like No, it just came organically. And then as things came, I wrote notes down. And again, my community, like the welcome song. One of my friends was at my house one day and I'm like, I want a song, but I don't really know how it should sound. And she just started singing and I'm like, that's it. And that's my welcome song, right? So everything Miss Love is just real.
That's so
Did you
dope.
look at like other older like children's shows and stuff like that, like Lamb Chops Play Along,
Not until
Mr. Rogers? You didn't look at any of those and said, I'm gonna implement some of these stuff. You're just gonna sauce it yourself?
Not until, so this is actually very funny to me. This girl that I went to college with, Humber College, she saw one of my videos in her feed and she was like, you know what, I want to help you because she has a YouTube channel and it's very successful. So she's like, I want to help you. So we got together and then she was like, you have to look at other stuff too, right? So it's not until recently that I started looking at other things and I'm like, oh, actually there are things that I'm already doing right, but there are some small things that I need to tweak. However, growing up, I did watch Lamb Chops. That was like my brother used to watch that, and so I'd watch that.
Don't try to act like you didn't watch it either.
No,
Right? You enjoyed it.
I watched it with him, and I did enjoy it. Because I can't lie. I'm such a big kid, always have been, and I feel like I've been a late bloomer in some sense. And I'm okay with that. I'm a Gemini, and I'm very true to my sign. Geminis are very young at heart.
May or
and
June?
June. The May Geminis, they're a little different.
Yeah, they're crazier.
Don't call us crazy.
Sorry.
People just don't.
They're just I just don't understand them.
us.
Yeah.
They just don't. People don't understand. You know what it is? It's because we're so adaptable.
That too.
You put a Gemini, like Kanye's a Gemini. Put Kanye somewhere.
Every
and
Gemini
he's going
mentions
to just
Kanye.
relax.
And that's not a
And
good
Lauren-
person to name
and
now.
Lauren Hill. Well, yeah. Look,
Maybe
I'm
back in the
talking
day.
throwback Kanye.
Yes, okay.
I'm not
Right,
talking today's Kanye. I
All
still love him because one thing I appreciate about him is he stays authentic.
Facts.
And he's honest.
Yeah.
Whatever the honest is he's always
Exactly. And that's how Geminis are. We're always like, we're going to tell you the truth. It just is what it is.
She's a June Gemini, okay? We're not
No, it's not that. It's just you guys are talking about Kanye and it just reminds me like, oh, you know what kind of doctor it was? I'm not supposed to say the name. Jew.
Yep.
I love Kanye. I love him.
I love
and
him too,
even
man.
like Lauryn Hill. People tend to call Lauryn Hill crazy and stuff, but she's not. Like if you listen to her when she speaks, she is like otherworldly brilliant.
She's on her own time.
Yes.
Yeah,
No pun
definitely.
intended. No pun
Definitely.
intended, but she is on
If
her
she's
own
late,
time.
no, I'm not. This is the time that I want to start.
Yeah.
She's
But
real.
then her shows are still good.
Yeah,
Because
amazing.
I've gone
Yeah.
to see her almost every time she's been here in the last 10 years. And I've always been satisfied when I leave.
That's all that
and
matters.
I'm always like, why are people are just mad because she's late. They're not trying to listen to the art.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's often a difference between loving art and wanting to love art, or loving art and wanting to just
Or
keep keeping
critiquing
up.
it.
Yes.
That's
or
a-
to
that's a
just look
difference.
like you're cool because you're going to every concert in town. Do you actually love the music?
That's
right?
almost the same question as do you want to do this for the clout, or do you really want to do this because you're passionate?
Yes.
It's the same.
Exactly. And so now I've put a lot of money into this, and so it's not about the money, but now I'm learning that I kind of have to learn how to monetize so that I can keep this going, because it's a lot. Can't lie. When I filed my taxes last year, enough tears, because I'm like, I can't believe I spent all this money on this production that's not making any money. So yeah, shout outs to my friend Charlene. She taught me how to look at other things, not copy it, but look at it to understand what works and what doesn't, and just to change the things that don't work and play up on the things that do.
That's dope. So he had mentioned like lamb chops and all. What about the newer YouTube educationers like Miss Rachel and
Yeah, Miss Rachel is lit.
Yo, my son learned how to read from Miss Rachel. I'm
Yeah,
not
Miss
gonna lie to
Rachel
you.
is so good.
Yeah.
There's a black girl too that does the weather. I can't remember her name, but
I don't
she's
think I've
also
seen her.
on Miss Rachel's show too. She is the black component of that show. But she does the
Okay.
weather. She has
I've never seen her.
Yeah.
And then there's Blippy.
Blippy.
Blippy is actually pretty good too.
Blippy is good. Quite annoying, but good.
But that's the thing. What's annoying to us is
It's
not
not for the
annoying to
children.
children.
Yeah.
Like they like children like certain sounds and like big eyes and stuff like that. That's what they like. But if I'm being honest, part of my mission with Miss Love is to be the in between, because I don't want, like, my music, although I'm singing nursery rhymes, one of my boys was like, yeah, you're singing nursery rhymes, but my head's not hurting at the end of the car ride. Like, I'm actually bumping with the music too, because it's palatable to me as a father. So for me, I am marketing to both parents or caregivers or educators and children, because at the end of the day, those are the adults who are with the children while they're looking at these shows. So you don't want it to be too annoying. And then I'm also trying to play up on what my dad taught me, which is community, because I've noticed that we've really fallen off from that. Everyone's like every man for themselves right now. But no, we need each other.
Facts.
So yeah, more Black faces, more family, more community, whatever that family looks like, because that's another thing. Based on like my personal experience, there was a lot of like feeling othered because it was just my dad, right? And even when my dad remarried, my stepmom, she was very present, but I noticed, and now that I'm like the age that she was when she came into the picture, I'm like, now I understand why she moved like this. Like, she allowed my dad to just be at the forefront for his kids. Yes, she supported us, but he made all the decisions when it came to us, right? So saying that to say, it's just, life is just a cycle, and it's all about observing, learning, growing, and healing from everything that you go through.
That's so true, man. What do you feel like? What do you feel like is missing, other than like the community and us being together? What do you feel like is missing in the community, or just in the city?
Well, there's one of the things I've noticed nowadays. If you ask a child, "Hey, what's your favorite book?" Crickets. When I was growing up, I'd be like Dr. Seuss, whatever book was out, the ABC
Robert
book.
Munch,
Yeah,
R.L. Stein, Goosebumps,
Babysitter's Club when I got older.
the Hardy Boys,
The Boxcar Boys.
Woo-hoo!
Amelia Bedelia. Like,
sorry to cut you. What's the female one of the Hardy Boys?
They have a show on there. What's her name?
There's a
Nancy Drew.
Yes.
Nancy Drew. Yeah. See,
bro.
that goes to show we read.
Yes, we did.
Right? Yeah, we read books. And nowadays, but then can you blame these children? They're not seeing characters that are like them in books. So it's challenging to get there.
That's not an excuse, because we didn't see characters of our type in these books either. I want to say it's the curriculum, or whatever you call it. Because one, kids don't even get sent home with homework anymore.
Oh yeah, I noticed that.
So I heard in some countries it works. I don't know about Canada. It's clearly not working over here. But like even that, like I just think that there's something wrong. To me, in my opinion, what's wrong with the community is there's not enough programs and the
structure.
schooling.
We need structure and things to feel disciplined and accomplished about, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I always include some kind of educational piece, although it's kind of like play-based learning. But in my opinion, you have to learn something after you leave one of my workshops, right? So that's my main thing. Like, we don't play up on education, and we also have to realize that education isn't only limited to school.
No,
right?
it's not.
We're learning right now just through this conversation, right? So people need to be more intentional about encouraging their children to learn whatever it is that they like. Learn your kids. Find out what they like. If a kid likes coding, find a coding program. So many libraries have these things now. If your child likes music, find a music program. So these are the things that I push in my content. Like, it's embedded in there. Some of it is subtle. Some of it is right in your face. But yeah, we need to do better at encouraging our children to do what they like.
Yeah.
Right?
No, you're right.
Stop encouraging your kid to be a doctor when
they don't want to be a doctor.
He or she doesn't want to be a doctor. Find out what they like and nourish their skills, nurture their skills towards that.
But I want to say that whole aspect of pushing your children to be, I guess you could say, high-end career people, it just stems from like our parents and their parents' parents and stuff like that. Like, I believe like now in our time, we need to recognize like the modern day of parenting, because even still people in our group or age group, they're still kind of stuck in the back in the day way of like, the telling the kids what to do, the not caring about their feelings type thing. Like we have to kind of find a fine line in the two,
Yes.
and kind of like
Healthy balance.
Break the cycle, man.
push your kids to do the things that they wanted, like you said. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, well, a lot of the things, let's face it though, a lot of the things that our parents did worked, right?
But
So
we
it's
didn't
finding
realize
a
that till
healthy-
later on in life.
That's
though.
right. But we have to find, and that's what I mean is we have to find a healthy balance. Like as much as how would I describe myself in terms of discipline? No, I don't have kids of my own, but I have a lot of godchildren. And there are a lot of kids in my neighborhood. Like they ring my doorbell and they're like, Miss Love, will you play with me? Yeah. Miss Love plays with them. I ride my bike with them. But when I see them doing foolishness, I don't just sit there and watch. I say, hey, I usually ask them, why did you do that? I always ask. And half the time they can't even really answer, right? And then I would say, if you can't answer why you're going to do something, you probably shouldn't be doing it.
That's fact.
See, like, I used to be like that, but then I had this situation a couple of months ago with the girl. Remember when she was outside and it was 11 o'clock and I'm like, why are you outside?
Yeah.
And then, but then she got at me like, well, if my mom don't tell me why I'm outside, what the f- are you telling me I'm outside? And then it's just like, well, okay, you know what?
You're right.
I'm going to leave you alone then.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's a problem within itself. I shouldn't though. I feel like as somebody that's trying to change the community, I still should be like, you know what, regardless, if I see you outside, I'm still gonna ask you, why the hell are you outside?
10 years from now, she's gonna be like, that guy that was asking me why I was outside. So don't feel bad about doing what's right, even if the repercussion in the moment is not favorable, so to speak. Never. That's something that I hold steadfast. I don't give two shits about something that I do in this moment, even if someone else is hurt in the moment. If it was the overarching right thing to do, that's what I'm gonna do.
Facts.
That's facts.
You
You want to go ahead?
Yeah, is Miss Love going on tour? Like, have you ever thought
You know
about
what?
touring?
I would
and-
love to. It's so funny because Chantel, she's like, I see Miss Love like on tour. Like she said that, and I'm like,
Wait, Chantel from
that
our
would be
school?
cool. Yeah, from Lieberman.
You still talk to her?
Yeah,
Shit.
like
Chill,
most of the
chill.
Lieberman
No,
people are
yeah,
still around.
no, like the friendships. I'm thinking about the friendships that like
Yeah, like
back in the day we
I've-
hold friendships.
Yeah,
Like,
of
remember our
course.
friendship is long. Like that's dope.
I've known her since kindergarten. Even like Ryan.
Yeah. Shout out to
Sean-
Ryan. Yeah,
Sean
yeah.
Gear. Like
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
known
Dogs
those
them.
people since junior kindergarten, and we're 40, right? And we still talk. It may not be every day.
Damn, you 40?
So we're in the same grade.
Yeah, shit. You look good. I thought you were younger than me. So I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were younger than me.
And you know what? I'm now embracing saying my age. I had stopped saying my age for a long time because that's another thing I experienced. I experienced a lot of ageism. Like even just buying a lighter. One day I'm buying a lighter. No, I don't smoke, people. But it was just to light candles. And the guy actually carded me. And I'm like, is this even legal? I'm
should
just
feel
buying
nice.
a lighter.
I might feel nice when they card me
Depends.
though.
I
Sometimes
do
I'm just
too.
like,
I do
they're
too.
just being nosy. They just want to know how old I am sometimes.
Oh, I get it for your sense, for like a,
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah,
women's
from a
sense.
woman's
Like,
sense,
are you
okay,
trying to
it's
really
different.
gauge while I go on here? Like, am I of age or something? Like, because they're interested or something, right?
Yeah, it happens a lot. Actually, a few weeks ago, I was at Scarborough Town Center and some guy tried hollering at me. It was so funny. So I listened to him, and then after I'm like, how old are you? And he's
21.
Like, it's like, I'm 19. I'm like, I could be your mom.
That probably turned him on even more.
And he was like, what? And he was like, well, like,
Yep.
real Scarborough man
Yep.
thing. And I was just like, this is not, like, this is a no for me.
That's crazy, eh?
Yo, when you do this clip, you have to put Drake's part in
Go ahead,
there. Real Scarborough man.
Yeah, I'll for sure I'll do that. For sure.
So, but yes, going back to it, so you do see yourself like possibly going on tour because when I'm thinking about
I would
this,
love
like,
to, especially with my music and like
Okay.
seeing children. Just when I sing, If You're Happy and You Know It, that's such a basic song.
Mm-hmm.
But adding the 808s to that, it just brings them alive and they dance. And even the shyest kids, and they've asked, like, can you encore? I'm like, kids say encore? Like, where did you learn that? But anyway, yeah, I would love to do some kind of a tour, especially with my music. Yeah.
But what's stopping
But
you?
when
though?
I'm not just with music, I'm thinking the Miss Love, just the
workshop.
educational.
Yeah.
Just
It would be
you-
like your workshop on tour, technically.
Yes. So you're
That would
taking
be
it,
dope.
yeah,
That's
you're
not
on
something
tour
I
in different
thought of.
cities and you're
Yeah.
talking to different kids like, hey, Miss
Yeah.
Love's on tour in let's just say you start off simple like Montreal and London.
Mm-hmm.
Holla at Miss Love. She's gonna be at this place. Bring your kids, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Different events. I think that's something,
That
especially
would
if
be
it's
dope.
black for the community. That's something that we're not seeing, right? I would
Yeah.
love to see something like
I
that.
would love that too. But the other thing I've noticed as well is we're like, as black people, we complain so much. And then when you give, people are like, oh, there's not good things on TV for my kids. You give them Miss Love, and Miss Love has like 200 views. But then you're watching
Baby
Shade Club
Shark.
Shay Shay or something
Bro.
for 2 hours, right? When Miss Love is 15 minutes and it's designed for the whole family. So it's stuff like this that I look at and I'm like, I'm not doing this, as Chronic says, I'm not doing this for the likes, right? This is actually a heartfelt thing. And we just have to do better at actually, you know, supporting people who are doing things in the community. Because there's a
that's
lot of
positive.
people doing things in our community for kids.
No, for sure.
And it's amazing. And I only learned about these people when I started doing the work I'm doing, because like minds attract like minds.
That's facts.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of black authors in the GTA doing their things. Most of them are women, which sometimes hurts my feelings because our young kings, like, they need representation more. I think that we cater more to little girls than we do to little boys. And yeah, I saw it especially when I worked in Chester Lee as a camp leader. Nobody wanted to work there. Like,
Really
and-
scared.
'Cause it's not
Full
cool. No, it's
disclosure.
not. It's not cool. It goes back
nobody
to, it's
wanted
not,
to not that, because they were afraid of the community, right? Saying, oh, the kids are violent, this, that, and the other.
So
Sometimes the camp leaders would quit halfway through the summer.
Really?
I worked at Chester Lee for like maybe 6 years out of my journey. And saying that to say, like, that's when I learned, wow, our little boys are so neglected. These kids were so smart. Like, they were smart, ahead of their years. But nobody cared about them, right? Outside of their parents. But then they also had a lot of them had very unfortunate circumstances too. And I learned very quickly in the game that camp was their safe haven. So, yeah, our boys need more support.
100. I wouldn't even just say boys. I just think both. There are men
Yeah,
and women.
both.
They
Oh,
both
yeah,
need support.
100%.
Both.
But there's still more things out there for
For
girls.
women.
there is
And
a lot.
like for young girls too. Like there's a lot of like hair braiding camps and
True,
stuff like
true.
that. Where's the stuff for the young boys?
Like the barbershops,
Yeah.
or just like you're saying, authors and
Yeah.
writers. We need
Just arts in general,
Yeah, because
right?
it's so funny that we were talking about that. Something as simple as a comic book. We were just talking to Daniel and MWorks that want to do something like that.
Yeah.
That can pave a way for young authors, writers, whoever that can just
Like
really-
it's just the infrastructure is just really, really broken. But we need to find someone that cares about it like we do, so that we can fix it. You know what I'm saying? I see, like Gatti said, Miss Love on tour, and it could start off just like you said, your workshops in schools. You know, you start making your rounds in schools this season, and then boom, you start thinking, okay, in the summer now, I want to go to Ottawa, do a little festival there, London. You know what I'm
That
saying?
would be so
Or
dope.
Aurelia,
That would actually be a
you know what I'm
dream come
saying?
true.
It's not even a dream.
That's not a
These are
dream. That's-
dreams.
that's
This is reality.
happening.
This
That's
is, We
happening.
can do
It's
this.
I'm gonna
here.
put it
It's
together
here.
for you.
It's
Like
here.
what?
It's easy to sell
that's-
because
Miss Love on tour.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Coming
even,
soon.
Even
Coming
like
at you.
we have Rogers channel. Like, you know, you already have your YouTube base. Like just presenting them a new show on the Rogers TV network. Okay, yeah, people don't watch TV, but there's still people that do. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? Let's step up the production, make it look like how it is at home. Get it on the Rogers network. We'll film all that. Put it on TV, and now you have something else to say. Hey, I work at Rogers. You know, you guys are doing this, and when the what's those white guys that come in with the girl and they dance and stuff?
Oh, the
my God.
Wiggles?
When the Wiggles come to town, you're the opener. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're gonna do your little one segment when the Wiggles come on tour. You just
Fuck
find
is
out
the
where
Wiggles?
you.
What is the Wiggles? I don't have kids.
They're children's
If
kids
you
show.
Google them though, you'd be like, these people look so weird. But then
Yeah.
you listen to their music and you're like, this is good.
Yeah, you'll understand. But like when Wiggles come to town, you know they're selling out.
Yeah.
They're doing arenas. So it's just like, where have the Wiggles been? Like, kind of track their tours and what stadiums they're doing and try to be in the same city or around the same time. Like, there's so many ways, bro. Like,
Yeah,
oh
because
my
I'm
God.
even thinking radio. Like, you can have a legal segment on a radio, on a flow, or
That would be
105.5.
awesome to
There's
do
so
a
many.
read
diff-
aloud. On,
out loud, or even have your own, because they do it all the time in thing. The Sirius satellite radio, where you can just
Yes.
go and you're listening to comedians or whatever, and you can
Oh
do
yeah,
the same thing.
CBC radio, especially OT, when they have their little segments, they do like they read like a story with the effects involved and stuff. So you can do your own stories with your own music,
And I've
just
written,
creating a podcast.
I've actually
of-
written a few books. I just haven't published them yet.
Oh my God, yeah.
I know. This is
Listen,
me. I'm only in
Marquez.
my coming out stage right now.
So do you have a
okay?
team or anything? Like you're just doing this dolo?
Right now, it's pretty much just me.
Besides
I have
the,
somebody that does my editing
Yeah.
and like he updates my website and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But right now, that's my team. And for a little while, I was working with a marketing team as well, and that was put on hold for a bit. But yeah, it's Miss Love does pretty much everything, and some of the editing I do myself because I know how to do that stuff. That's what I went to school for journalism, so you learn how to do that.
on hold because they were.
Oh
was it a
no,
money
no,
thing,
no!
or-
It's nothing to do with money or anything like
Okay,
that. But
okay.
yeah, no, they were great.
Okay.
They were definitely great. But
You saw results?
They're going, yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
okay,
Once
good.
I started working with them, my viewership went up,
Nice.
and it was from just small changes, right? So, and what I appreciate is all the people that I've worked with. I love that they just allow me to be me, and they tailor the brand around like who I am. Yeah.
That's dope, man. Anything else?
Nah, man, I just want to see more from her. I want to help her. Because it seems like that's all she needs. She just needs people to get behind such a good, like, this is a good, why wouldn't somebody want to invest into this?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I hear shit like this and I wish I had $1 million. I'd just
here.
hold this.
Hold that.
But the thing
Yeah,
about
see?
it is, I always meet people on road that say this. They're like, yo, like you're sitting on a gold mine.
Yes.
And I'm just like, it's not about the gold mine, but it would be nice.
No, of course.
Right? So, I mean, I think I'm getting to that point right now where I am more focused on branding and being consistent as well. Because that part is very challenging, especially with the editing and the filming and having to schedule times, because the person that does my editing as well, he films for me. I do a lot of the filming by myself on the Soulful Sofa, but if I want to do something outside, I need help.
You need help.
Right? So it's things like that with really fine tuning our schedules and just getting Miss Love out there. So yeah.
Well, our platform, this is what our platform's here for. Any way that we can help, you already know. You have
Exactly.
us. So.
Yeah, we could talk more about this offline.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
For sure.
Ideas
Give
for days.
everybody your socials where they can watch your show, where they can send you ideas, books that they've written. You know what I'm
To
saying?
join up in the workshops.
Yeah, the Miss
Yes,
Love
that.
community.
yes.
How could I let them know how they can join to the Miss Love community?
So you could actually just send me an email at hello@misslove.ca. I'm on all socials. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, now X. All three of those are Miss Love Learns with an S at the end. Again, that's Miss Love Learns. And then I'm on Facebook and YouTube as Miss Love, and it's MS. So that's MSLOVELEARNS for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And then on Facebook and YouTube, it's ms.love. There's always something fun happening on my channel. So we have read-alouds, we have some animated music videos, which, by the way, have been doing really well. Those have been off the charts for me. So I'm excited actually about recording some more music and sharing some more animation. My workshops are right now, I'm actually planning something in the Durham region. I'm looking for a venue to do that at, and it's going to be a 4-part series. So once that is finalized, then I will definitely be blasting all of my social media with information about that.
And let's get her to 1,000 subscribers, bro.
Where's she at right now?
Almost there.
light.
I'm
962, I
almost
believe.
Woo!
I've been in
962.
963
Yeah,
because we just
I'm
subscribed
almost
too. So
1,000 and you
Yay,
monetize,
thank
girl.
you.
1,000 and you
Yes,
monetize.
yes.
That's when
The-
the work really. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's very interesting as well because I wasn't even watching that really, but now I am because I'm like, yeah, I want to really be able to continue to create this content because we need it, our kids need it, and the
Facts.
generations to come are going to need this too. And also I have a website that's the loveandlightcollective.ca and everything is there. So that actually might be the easiest place to go to because you can learn about me and you can find all my socials. Again, that's the loveandlightcollective.ca.
That's what's up.
dope.
Yes.
Miss
Dope,
Love,
dope,
man.
dope.
Thank
I
you
have
for
an
your
EP
time.
on there for sale too. It's only $5.
Cool, huh?
Y'all be buying McDonald's fries.
Crumble.
For $5.
Crumble
How much
for
was that?
40-something bucks.
See? $5 for an EP that's not going to annoy you in the car with your kids. That's been the feedback that I've been getting anyway. Everyone's
good.
like, all the songs are bangers. There's 4 songs on it. And everyone could sing along because, again, I just really want people to have that sense of family. Again, whatever that looks like for you. If it's just mom, it's just dad, or if it's auntie or uncle or grandma or grandpa, whoever is taking care of you should be able to have fun with you too. So
Facts.
yes, get the EP. It's called Move with Miss Love Volume 1, and it's on my website, $5. You can also, it's streaming as well on all the streaming platforms, actually.
Great.
Apple Music, Spotify. So yeah, but I'd prefer if you buy it. just saying.
Money up front. Money up front.
$5.
You don't want them stream penny pun penny
Yes,
penny penny.
you
Hold
buy
on.
your Lotto 649 for $10 and whatnot. So
So we have to do it online though.
to purchase the EP,
Yeah.
yes, it's digital.
Because I was like, blood clot, man, I'm going to fight that right here. I'm going to fight me. I'm ready to support.
You're ready.
yeah,
See,
yeah.
I'm
we
ready.
need more people like you.
Thank you. I'm ready.
But yeah, man. Fucked. That was the Madam Show. Loveandlightcollective.ca is the place to see Miss Love's content. Thank you, Miss Love, for your time.
Thank you
Yes,
so
thank
much
you,
for
thank
having
you.
me.
Of
I really
course.
Blessed.
appreciate
This is
this.
blessed, man.
We
We
need
need
to
to
do
have more
more of this
conversation like this.
because
Yeah.
yeah, like these conversations are dead, but we need to have them.
The next time you come back, we'll definitely
be
have
on
some
tour.
more. Oh, yeah, you'll be on
I'll
tour.
be on tour,
And you'll have
remember?
1,000 subscribers.
Oh,
but not
yeah.
even just that. We're going to have more uncomfortable conversations between men and women.
And
I think
I'm okay with that because
That's-
again, how else are other people supposed to know what not to do, right?
Exactly.
you
How
gotta
are
grow.
you supposed to know?
Exactly. All right. We out of here.
Off of this.
Peace.